soy creates man boobs. It is unsafe for men to take soy protein because you will become a female if you continuously use it. Why even the so-called educated people believe this thing and try to propagate. To understand it better, we need to know how exactly clinical studies are conducted and what is the hierarchy of the evidences, meta-analysis and systemic studies. So here what happens, multiple studies are analyzed and conclusion is arrived. The benefit is that there could be many studies with hidden agenda of the manufacturer, hidden agenda of the scientist, hidden agenda of the doctor. All these things are nullified by doing a meta study, because there will be studies in and against for every phenomenon. Just below in that ranking is randomized control trials. Randomized control trials are done in a reasonably good quantity of people, and it is done on humans, so that whatever is the effect which is shown by a majority of those sample size is considered to be valid. Third is cohort studies. Cohort studies are done for long duration and for a larger or wider population. So this will also get that it is not that a selective few have been identified and that is done for a very short period. When it is long term, we can believe that okay, there is a possibility that this could be true, but still it ranks at number 3. Fourth one is the case studies. These are not specific studies as such. These are observations which happens with some patients by some doctor, and they record it. The purpose of noting these results is to give an indication that somebody wants to do a detailed research on that. This could be a starting point. Case studies do not confirm anything, but it just highlights that okay, there is a possibility. And number 5, which is animal studies or in vitro studies or lab studies. And let us see soy through this different kind of studies. One study which is by Hamilton Reeves and others in 2021. They evaluated around 41 studies. This is very, very vast. And they were about soy protein and isoflavones intake. Eventually they found out that there was no effect on testosterone levels, no effect on estrogen levels. Now let us see a rank 2 study, which is RCT or randomized control trials. This is a study by Mitchell and others in 2001. So a set of people were given soy on a regular basis and hormone levels were measured before and after. The results were there was no feminine effect on these men. There was no testosterone drop. Cohort study or population study, which is rank 3. The study was done by Nagata and others in 2000. They studied a high intake population from Japan and China. So these people regularly intake soy as a part of their regular food. They were analyzed and the results were there was no effect of developing boobs, gynecomastia, and there was no effect on the testosterone. Now comes the 4th ranked, which got a lot of attention in the social media and a lot of fear-mongers are publicizing it. This is by Sapeman in 2011. An individual who was 60 years old was consuming 3 liters of soy milk every day. A temporary hormone change was observed. It got automatically reversed when he stopped this excessive drinking of soy milk. So the conclusion is this is extremely high intake, which is not normal. Second, it is an isolated case of just one person. So this was only an indication that there is need for further study, nothing more than that. But this was taken out of proportion by a lot of people on social media and fear mongering actually. A lot of people who were die-hard fans of whey protein started propagating this. I really don't know whether some of the manufacturers sponsored this or some uneducated gym bros blindly followed or blindly swallowed this thing and started saying that soy creates man boobs. This is totally unscientific. Just a case study. Case study in terms of scientific evidence is ranked at very, very low level at level 4. It's only an indication for further study. This is not anything conclusive on this. Let us see the 5th one. which is below case study, is animal studies or in vitro studies. In vitro studies means study in the lab where you have tissues and cells and see how it behaves for a particular kind of experiment. So here rats were used, but the rat's metabolism totally differs from that of men. So whatever is found in rat does not mean it will be applicable for human. Doses were unreasonably high. The rats have a very low body weight. A small quantity what human take also, that will be huge quantity for the rat. Experiment involved feeding them with isoflavone. That will be an equivalent of consuming a very large chunk of soy. Extremely high and very unscientific way of experimenting it. Just to give you an example, the calcium in a normal water, it can go up to 100 milligram per liter. Our body is given more than 5000 milligrams of calcium, it can become fatal. So we can say that calcium is fatal to your body and calcium is contained in water, so water intake is also can be dangerous. But how much water? To get 5000 milligrams of calcium, assuming 100 milligrams of calcium per liter, you will have to consume 50 liters of water, which is not realistic. But for the scaremongers, it is so easy. They will say, yeah, you should not take water. And if you really wanted to market another product like a water purifier or something, you can say, yes, our water purifier controls calcium. So you can safely drink it. Otherwise also you can safely drink it. The dosage is very important. So if you are putting a large amount of isoflavones, which would create any kind of impact on human or even for animals, that is in the range of 600 to 900 milligrams. How many milligrams of isoflavones are contained in soy or soy protein? It will be in the range of around 30 milligrams. You will have to consume something like 300 milligrams or up to 600 milligrams, which means you will have to use 20 scoops a day, which is practically nobody is going to do that. And even in that case, see, that is a remote issue, but even in that case, nothing is going to happen. So dosage is very important. You have to see realistically how much is it really make. One more thing about soy, isoflavones are not estrogens. They are called phytoestrogen, estrogen-like thing, and they go and get attached to estrogen receptors, but this attachment is very weak. That attachment is 1 by 1000 of a normal regular human estrogen attachment. So it practically has no meaning even if you take it, and in reality nobody is going to take that kind of a estrogen which is equal to some 20 scoops a day. So it's just fear-mongering. So the point is, soy do not affect testosterone or your masculinity, and it does not create man boobs. On the other hand, taking soy or soy protein has the distinct advantages. 90% of whey proteins are imported. So whenever you are buying whey protein, you are actually devaluating your currency because it has to come in US dollar from abroad. On the other hand, soy is produced by the farmers, and the moment you are using that, you are actually supporting the Indian farmers, and that is where your patriotism will play a big role without much effort. Just with your routine, you can support these farmers and support the economy of our country. Soy is one of those rare plant proteins which is considered as a complete protein with all 9 essential amino acids. So for the vegetarians or vegans, this is definitely the best option. Third, soy with this 9 essential amino acids is very planet friendly. The carbon emission or carbon footprint of soy is much lesser than that of whey protein. If you are shifting from whey protein to soy protein, you are actually doing a good thing not only for your country but also for the whole planet. Fourth is, it uses very less of resources. In terms of water usage, it's much lesser. Land usage is also much lesser compared to whey protein. It is for everyone because 70% of Indians are not tolerant for whey, and a large chunk of Indians are vegetarians. A lot of them are vegans as well, and this is an ideal protein for them. Last but not least, this is economical also. because it is locally sourced, locally processed, and locally sold. Eat healthy, stay healthy.